Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well here. Welcome to Four Lads One Red Card. It's a new edition of your favorite podcast. And I'm joined today by Darian, Alex, and Baton Chat. Jotis, how are you guys? You good?
All
Yeah,
good. Been out
yeah.
of the game for
Yeah.
a bit, but I'm back now.
Yeah, and we have a lot of subjects to discuss. Of course, today, guys, once again, just before we begin, please don't forget to follow us on social media, put a like, comment, share our content to your friends, to your family, to everyone you want. We're here every week. So, yeah, don't forget to follow us and to support us on Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, and X. And, guys, we'll start right now because we have a lot today. We'll start with the European Tour leagues, big leagues, with some big matches coming up this weekend. The first up is the Premier League, where the title race between Arsenal and Man City is hotter than ever, if we can say that. We'll start with Man City, who is coming off another league win against Newcastle last week. And this time, Pep Guardiola's players will take on Leeds, who are currently 15th in the league, I think. Yeah. First question for you, Darren. Do you think City will continue their fine run in the Premier League this weekend?
Against Leeds, I think they're going to get another win, but I'm not sure about the upcoming fixtures because, as I've stated also in the previous episodes, Man City did not give a very good look this season to me in terms of consistency. But we're coming at the, I mean, not almost, but like the almost to the business end of the season right now. So maybe their motivation is higher than the previous weeks right now. And we'll see how it goes for Man City's side. But I think against Leeds United, they're going to continue their win streak.
Yeah, you're right to mention that because I think their upcoming fixtures after that game will be more tough. There will be the Champions League, but also in the Premier League, they will play against Chelsea. They will play against Arsenal, playing against big teams. So yeah, 3 points is really crucial for Man City. Guys, we continue also with another team, Liverpool, hosting West Ham this weekend. Alex, we know that Liverpool's season has been very turbulent. We can say that. But today the situation seems a bit more stable. What do you really think about the Reds' level, and what are the objectives for the end of the season?
The objectives, I think, are to win the Champions League and finish in the top four in the Premier League. They can do both. Why not? The Champions League is very unpredictable, but we'll get them later. And we have to praise the best prediction ever that turned into reality with Bodo Glimt knocking out Inter.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
worry. You will have 10
Yeah,
minutes
yeah,
to
yeah.
talk about that.
Yeah, but no, yeah, just kidding. But regarding Liverpool, yeah, I think they can finish fourth. Uh, I wouldn't be like so. I wouldn't say the situation is more stable right now because they only won against Forest in the 90 something minute, 97th minute or something. And yeah, I think they can't wait for Jeremy Jacquet to join the squad in the summer.
Yeah. Do you think Liverpool still have enough money to buy players? Because we remember last summer they spent €500 million euros on the transfer market.
Nah, yeah, they definitely do have money. They are not broke like Barcelona. And yeah, it's the Premier League. The Premier League is a league on its own. They have money to buy the whole
Yeah.
League of Poland, for example.
Yeah, you're right to say that. Let's continue with another interesting team that is battling for the top spot. Manchester United, currently fourth in the table, the place you want Liverpool to finish, Alex, right? But this weekend, United will take on Crystal Palace at Old Trafford. It should be noted that the Red Devils are still unbeaten in Premier League in 2026, 5 wins and 3 draws in 8 games. That's quite impressive, to be honest. Jotis, would qualifying for the Champions League next year be a surprise for Man United this season? Or you think it's an objective that they can reach easily?
I mean, with the current form, they could do it. I mean, Crystal Palace is not at the best moment right now. There's a lot of problems going on within the club with Oliver Glasner and the fans. So it's not a particularly good situation. But for Man United, they've been on a good run, and Michael Carrick ball is on his high. And yeah, Michael Carrick is clearly learning tactics from Arteta with the corner kicks and everything. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Man United walks away with a win against Crystal Palace.
Darren, Alex, we know that last year, the 5 first teams in the table qualified directly to the Champions League, and also Tottenham qualified thanks to Europa League. So that means that normally the 5 first teams will qualify directly to the Champions League.
Yeah.
Do you think Man United will be part of this top 5 or not?
I believe yes. Unfortunately, I think they will be
Okay.
part of the top 5, but in my opinion, they will finish exactly in the 5th spot. So if they make it to the Champions League, it would be just because England will send 5 teams to the Champions League once again, not because they will get top 4.
Okay, clear. Darren, you
Yeah.
seemed a bit hesitant about that.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna make it to top 5 in my opinion. I think they're gonna be like right on the 6th
May
spot on
God
the
hear
edge,
you.
and they're gonna miss. What?
I said, like, may God hear you and make your wish happen.
Bro, God doesn't need to involve in Man United situations. They fuck up their own future themselves.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna
Yeah, well,
finish 6th spot, and they're gonna miss out on Europa League or Conference League or whatever. Maybe UEFA can invent a new league just for Man United, you know, and maybe Tottenham as well. Those two
Even
can
God,
compete
Yeah.
together.
even God can help souls.
it's crazy to remember that the Tottenham and Man United last season were on the Europa League final, and thanks to that, Tottenham qualified. This season, Tottenham is qualified in the top 8 of the Champions League, but really bad in the Premier League. And Man United is way better than previous year, but we'll see if it's enough to qualify for the Champions League. Guys, we will finish with the clash of this 28th match day of the Premier League. This time it's another London derby between leaders Arsenal and Chelsea. We agree that this match is crucial for Arsenal in the title race. Sorry. Do you think that the Gunners will follow up their win against Tottenham like last weekend, or do you think Chelsea can cause them problems this weekend? I'll begin with Jotis because I know he has a lot to say about Arsenal. So your turn.
One thing I guarantee you guys, Arsenal are bottling it. It's right now only 3 points. I think there's a wait, let me check. There's a 5-point difference, but Man City has 1
5
game.
points, yeah.
Yeah.
Man City has 1 game less. So if they win that game, that's just 2-point difference. Arsenal, can they survive that kind of pressure? I don't think they can. Declan Rice, you guys saw the silly thing that he was doing the other day. So I don't think when you're at that point of the race of the league, you cannot survive that pressure. So yeah, Arsenal are bottling it 100%. But on the other hand, if you look at the other side of North London, Tottenham, it's a reality that Tottenham would actually get relegated if they continue this form, which is absolutely mental. Imagine taking that to someone last month or like last season. Mental. But it's actually a really big possibility, which is I don't have words to describe how we got to that point.
Yeah, that's a crazy situation for this North London club. Erin talking about another London club, Chelsea. Chelsea is doing like not a difficult season, but kind of weird season. Sometimes they can win against big teams. Sometimes they can draw against the West Ham or Leeds United in the Premier League at the last minute. We saw that in previous games. Do you think Chelsea can make something this weekend against Arsenal?
You know what? I think it really depends on the play style the two teams will adapt on that game, because if Arsenal wants to control the possession of the ball, then that's bad for them, because after watching the Barcelona-Chelsea game, I've just seen that Chelsea right now is one of the best transition teams in the world right now for counterattacks. I don't think they are an elite team. They're a very elite team with the ball possession, but off the ball, I think they are really, really good when they get the ball from their opponent and do a counterattack. I think they do that really, really well. So they might cause some issues for Arsenal, but at the end of the day, I don't think they are strong enough to beat Arsenal at their home ground. So I think Arsenal is going to continue their win streak as usual.
Yeah. Alex, do you think too that Arsenal will win again this weekend or not?
I don't think they will beat Chelsea, but I do think they will be champions. So they will be champions by 2 or 3 points, because I can see Man City dropping more points than Arsenal does. But I don't think they beat Chelsea this weekend. I think it's going to end in a draw.
Yeah, well, interesting game. In my opinion, I kind of agree with what Alex said. I think Chelsea can make something because they always put more efforts when they are facing big Premier League teams. We remember the first game between Arsenal and Chelsea, for example. The game against Liverpool too was kind of a good one for Chelsea. But yeah, I think Arsenal might be champion. I saw on, I think it was on X yesterday, the remaining games for City and Arsenal and calculate the potential points they can have. And when I calculated that, I think Arsenal was with 83 points and City with 82 points. So yeah, I agree that the race will be really tight, but we can remind that if City wins all their remaining games, they will be champions without doubt. So they know know what to do, right? They have to win everything.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I don't.
let's
They
see.
will.
Yeah, let's see if they're able to do that, guys. Let's head now over to Spain in La Liga, where Barcelona retook the lead last week. Hansi Flick's team has a big match coming up against third-placed Villarreal this weekend. Alex, what are your expectations for this big game? Do you think Barcelona, with the last result, will have more confidence facing Villarreal this weekend or not?
Yeah, they definitely have more confidence. I think they will beat Villarreal easily, like 3 or 4-1, something like that, a 3-goal difference as well. Because at home, Barcelona currently has the longest winning run in Europe. They have now
Wow.
won 13 consecutive games uh, at home, and they are like very good when playing in front of their own fans at the Camp Nou. The problem is playing away. I want to take this moment and applaud Real Madrid for the shortest time spent on the La Liga first place. Congratulations, you had the lead for a week, and we'll see how the title race unfolds.
Yeah, well, talking about that, Jotis, Real Madrid on their side will play against Getafe. Of course, Real must win if they want to keep up with Barcelona, right?
Percent. I mean, that loss against Osasuna was catastrophic. Like it couldn't have happened at a worse time. So not ideal at all. But it is Real Madrid. So even the smallest defeat is projected
Mhm.
as the end. So yeah, I mean Barcelona can enjoy the current situation, but yeah, it won't last long.
Well,
Yeah,
one
you really think that Real Madrid will win this title?
100%. We're still in the race.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean,
And
one
also,
thing, it's for certain, just 1 second. It's like the momentum changes so much from one point to the other, from 1 week to the other. It's crazy. Like last week when Barcelona lost against Girona
Mhm.
and Real Madrid were coming back of that win against Benfica and also taking the league in La Liga. It's like 1 week can change momentum so fast. Right now, it seems that it's in Barcelona's favor. Next week, we'll say it's in Real Madrid's favor. Like it's so easily like to judge based on the last moment, like jump into conclusions so fast. We have to see how the title race unfolds. I always like the mockery between the two clubs, and it will be interesting.
Pedri and Rashford are back in training, right, Alex?
Yeah, I think they are. So it's a plus for Barcelona.
How's Ferran Torres?
Ferran Torres?
I think he is still finding a basketball club or something to sign for.
Bro, he has
No,
to come to
no,
Turkey soon.
a paddle club. He may be better at paddle.
Well, so yeah, you all said kind of like most of everything. The title race is really tight. One thing I think, I don't know if you agree with that, but of course the next game will be the most important because like it's the end of this race and it's always the most important games that are coming in spring. But this season in Spain, even if the gap between the two teams is really, really short, we saw that Real was first, then Barcelona was first, then Real, etc., etc. It feels not like a true fight between those two. I want something more. Maybe it will happen during the Clásico, but even before, I think we need to feel that the title race is a real fight between those two. Darren, do you think that this season we lost something because last season Barcelona was too good for Real Madrid, or do you think that during the upcoming games this fight spirit will come up?
No, I think this season it's gonna be more tense, definitely. I
Mhm.
don't think it's gonna end very fast and easily for Barcelona this season. I think Real Madrid are gonna do the best they can, and also because Arbeloa is a coach that is really really hungry in terms of success. This is this is his first season as a first team manager in any team because he was coaching Castilla, if I remember correctly, before. Yeah, I mean, he's really, really hungry for this title. And obviously, I mean, not obviously because I don't want to jinx it, but I don't think Real Madrid are going to go that far in Champions League this season. So La Liga is his best chance to maybe secure his job for the next season, because if he doesn't win anything this season, I'm pretty sure Florentino Perez is going to replace him with someone else as the first team coach.
Yeah, that makes kind of sense. Guys, let's move on this weekend's big Italian clash between AS Roma and Juventus. Darin, I know that you've been following Juve really closely lately, of course. This game is a crucial game for qualification for the next Champions League, isn't it?
I mean, it's definitely most probably. And also, like, Juventus, not only in Champions League, but also in Serie A, Juventus has not been looking really, really good lately.
Yeah.
They lost to Inter to a kind of a buzzer goal from Zielinski 2 weeks ago. And this past weekend, they lost against Como. It's another huge loss, I would say. And if they lose against AS Roma as well, then it's completely horrific for it. It will be completely horrific for Juventus. So I don't think they're going to lose, but maybe there can be a draw, because I don't think Juventus has the facility to win against AS Roma, in my opinion, at the current state. Not because they don't have a good squad. I think they have a really, really good squad. They have some good players, and the coach as well. Spalletti is a really, really good coach, but it's just the spirit that is on the team right now. I don't think they have enough mental positivity to focus fully on the game and win. So I'm expecting a draw in this Italian clash.
Yeah, well, it's crazy because Juventus not so far. I think in end of December and beginning of January was on a good run in Italy. They were winning lots of games. They were like reaching top spots in the Serie A, but we see that as you said, their mental the mental aspect is not really strong for that team, because they conceded bad results and they were not able to rebound on that and to like be better and play better. So yeah, that game will be very interesting in Italy. Also in Germany, we have a huge clash, guys. The Klassiker between Bayern Munich and the Borussia Dortmund this weekend. Jotis, we know that once again Bayern is fully dominating the season, especially in Germany. But despite this, Dortmund is kind of coming back strong. Currently second in the table. What do you think we can expect from this clash between those two teams?
I think it's going to be a great game. The only thing that I can think of is how we don't. I mean, the Klassiker has always been like a big game. No matter where you're from or which league you follow regularly, you always look into. But I feel like over the years, it's not been that interesting to watch, just because of how dominant Bayern Munich has been over Dortmund. But having said that, I think it's still going to be an interesting game, because it could go anywhere, because it's just one game. But yeah, it just talks about how dominant and amazing Bayern has been.
Yeah. What you say illustrates perfectly what Bayern is doing since like lots of years right now. We remember in early 2010 years, 2011, 12, 13, when Dortmund was kind of pushing Bayern in their limits, and this game was really interesting at that time. We had the amazing Bayer Leverkusen season 2 years ago that also made some suspense in this league. But apart from that, we know that Bayern will be champion. Like, the thing is that even if they don't win that game against Dortmund, this is not really important for them, right? So we'll see, but that illustrates perfectly how Bayern is dominating the Bundesliga. Guys, to finish with this European tour, I wanted also to talk about France, because great game is also coming. The Olympico, we call it in France, between Marseille and Lyon, currently fourth and third in Ligue 1, respectively. But the clubs are in very different situations at the moment. Marseille is going through a difficult period with poor results. The departure of Roberto De Zerbi, while Lyon have been very consistent this season, both in Ligue 1 and also in Europa League, finishing first in the FaZe League. Alex, as our expert of the French league in this podcast, what can you tell us about this upcoming clash in Ligue 1?
So I think it's a derby that Abibay will definitely want to like leave the mark on it. I read in the French press that he took his Marseille players to a camp in Marbella just to forget about all the negative like rumors, negative energy around the club. His debut against Brest was a really bad one, and he needs to like show that he can change the team's fortune. Whereas Lyon have to respond after they lost against Strasbourg last weekend. It was their first loss after 13 consecutive wins in all competitions. I think Lyon have a better chance, and they won't lose the game. In my opinion, maybe the game can end in a draw, but I don't think Marseille can win, even though it's played in the Velodrome. This is why I think it will be like this
Yeah.
is where I see Marseille best chance, the fact that they play at home. But I think that Lyon will be able to snatch it all.
I just wanted to ask, Endrick has been doing great at Lyon, hasn't he?
Yeah, he started very good. He scored, I don't know the exact number of goals, but he's backs very nice goals and very good goals since his arrival. He also he came, and it was in one of his first or second matches, he broke the records for most dribbles completed in one match. That record belongs to Jan Bo
Yeah.
from Toulouse. And Hendrik, in his first or second game, he straight up did like 9 or 10 dribbles, and he put the name on his record, on the
Damn.
record.
Wow. You know, I really wanted to see him play as a loan in Turkey, but none of the Turkish clubs approached. Not that he would accept it, probably, but still, maybe they could have acted faster than Lyon.
Yeah, and that also shows that Lyon was the good choice for him. To be honest, before the transfer window, I was kind of hesitating of where should Real Madrid loan that player, because he needs more confidence. He needs also to improve in lots of sectors in playing. Yeah, well in Lyon has scored 5 goals since he's joined, also 1 assist, and including 1 treble against Metz in Ligue 1. So that's important for a young player to score that amount of goals. And he's playing in a team that is doing great in the championship, also competing for Europa League. So I think that's a win-win-win deal between Real Madrid, Lyon, and himself, of course. Alex, tell us.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to say. Lyon also needed him because they had Satriano as a striker for the first part of the season, and he was very bad. They sold him, they returned him to Lens, and Lens loaned him to Getafe, and they really needed a striker.
Yeah.
Their best goal scorer is Pavel Schultz, right? The Czech midfielder. He got injured against Strasbourg,
Yeah.
so they needed a striker, and Hendrik. And if he completes a certain number of games, in the end, Lyon will not have to pay anything for Hendrik. So it's crazy business, for all parts.
Exactly.
Alex casually flexing his France football knowledge, giving me French citizenship already.
Bro, yeah.
You see, man, I don't want to talk about anything right now because he's too good. He's an expert.
I do this all week. Every weekend, I have Liga matches. This week, I have Rennes against Toulouse to commentate, and then Paris FC. Who they play? Paris FC. I forgot.
Paris FC is playing against, let me tell you, Nice.
Nice. Oh, interesting one.
At this
Yeah.
point, if
Yeah.
you ever go to Nice or somewhere in France with your girlfriend, you're just going to go straight to the stadium to watch the game as a date.
It will be a debut for the Paris FC coach, Comboire, just signed in instead of Stéphane Guilly, if you guys like.
Wow, bro.
Yeah, look at that. You hear him?
Well, he's just like a football encyclopedia for French football.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's amazing, guys. Let's move on now, because we obviously have to talk about Champions League. We'll start, of course, with last night's results, and we have the names of the first 4 teams to qualify for the round of 16. Let's start with the big result of the evening. We talked a bit about it before, but the surprise of this Champions League, which is obviously the qualification of Bodo Glimt after 3-1 victory at home last week against Inter. Once again defeated Inter Milan yesterday night. Let's remind that Inter Milan was in the Champions League final last season, and now they are eliminating from this competition. 2-1 victory at the Giuseppe Meazza Stadium, and therefore a huge surprise in these playoffs. But as we said, it's not a surprise for everyone, as our Alex from Folas One Red Card predicted Bodo Glimt a few weeks ago the disqualification, and therefore Inter Milan, premature elimination. Alex, you were spot on. Tell us how can you guess that?
It's hard work, dedication, and the hours I put into looking into the Bodo Glimt Wikipedia. Nah, just kidding. I should have
Yeah.
like put my house on it. It's crazy. I had
was
a
just saying-
feeling, bro. So like Inter are doing very well in the league, but I think their focus is on the league. Their team is not strong enough to compete on both fields. So I don't think they did it on purpose, but they kind of like sacrificed the Champions League for the league. Last season, remember when they went toe to toe with both in the Champions League, going to the final, and in the league, and they ended up losing both of them in the final game, like getting humiliated by PSG and losing the title on the final day. This year they will win the Scudetto, but they will be out of the Champions League. After the season is over, nobody will remember because they will be Italian champions. And I'm really curious to how do you look at Inter season? They got knocked out in the playoffs by Bodo Glimt, but they will probably win the Scudetto. Would you say it's a better season than last year?
I would
100%.
say yes,
Yes.
definitely. I mean, when you play the Champions League final, nobody actually remembers you. I mean, when you think about last season, you remember PSG first, not Inter. So unless you win the trophy, I don't think it's a huge mark on that season. So I think it's more successful if they can manage to win Serie A this season.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, but I think of course if they're going to be Italian champions, we will remember that, and that will be a good objective for them to that they reach, of course. But I think what surprised me the most is that Bodo Glimt, guys, that's the first thing. This team, okay, they beat Inter at home. Okay, let's say that's all right. 3-1, that's a good result. But they beat Inter again just 1 week later in Italy. That's the crazy thing. And I think that, of course, Inter won't try and won't be less sleeping during the next weeks. That's sure. They will forget that and focus on the Serie. But when you lose your 2 games in playoffs, that's the first thing is that's a bad result for a team. But when it's against a team like Bodo Glimt, that's really curious to be honest. And even if Inter doesn't have the effective or the habits to play in both competition and they have to focus on one, I think that's crazy to see that a team like Bodo Glimt can eliminate and be twice former UCL final contender, right?
Yeah, I mean, teams like Bodo is always interesting for me because they are not very known. I mean, they don't have players that we know. I'm pretty sure like all of us can't even name like 5 players from Bodo Glimt. I only know Hauge and what was the other guy's name? I forgot. I even forgot. Like, never mind. But the thing that's most memorable about teams like that is the physical performance. I mean, they literally fight in the pitch. I don't know how many kilometers of distance did they cover last night, but it must have been insane. Like probably 130 kilometers or something like that. So it's really, really hard to beat teams like that. And I'm not sure who they're going to get matched against in the next stage, but maybe they can surprise us again.
Yeah, that's the thing I wanted to mention just before letting you talk, Alex. The crazy thing is that I think that the draw will happen soon. The 2 teams that Bodo Glimt can face in the round of 16 is Man City or Sporting Lisbon. Imagine a round of 16 between Sporting Lisbon and Bodo Glimt. You will be assured that one of the 2 will be in the quarterfinals. And
Yeah.
imagine for Man City, because Man City can play Bodo Glimt or Real Madrid if they qualify. So that will be not the same preparation, right?
Definitely not.
Mental. And
Yeah,
imagine
crazy.
if
Alex,
they
tell us.
win to the quarterfinals.
I think they can. You never know. One thing I wanted to mention, you guys, like the downfall of the Italian football is crazy because not only did Inter get knocked out in the playoffs, But Napoli, the Italian champions, they got knocked out of the league phase. Like even they weren't even able to finish in the 24. Juventus will get knocked out by Galata. The only Italian team
Don't
that,
jinx it. Don't jinx it.
bro, I don't think they can make a comeback, but let's say they get knocked out. The only Italian team that could possibly make it to the round of 16 is Atalanta, which I see right now they are 1-0 up
Yeah.
against Dortmund after losing the first leg 2-0. I don't think they can get knocked out. They can knock out Dortmund. So there's a big possibility that there will be no Serie A teams in the round of 16, whereas the Premier League has 6 teams in the round of 16. Like the money just changed football forever. And for me, as a like neutral, I love the Premier League and I love all the drama and all the mockery of all this like British culture, the way that British people live football. But football does not only happen in England, it happens in other countries as well. It's a bit sad to see like all the power going into the Premier League.
I mean, I completely agree, but this is not new, right? Like it has been happening for quite a while now, because last season probably would be an exception where one Italian team got to the final. But if we look at the seasons before, I don't think none of the Italian teams got to the semi-finals of the competition. There might be one or two occasions, rarely, but if you look at the last 5 Champions League season, I don't think many Italian teams made it further in the stage of in the knockout stages.
They were like on a rise recently because they had Inter and Milan. They played the semi-final between them a few years ago, and also there was a season, I think it was the same season, they had a finalist in every competition. They had Fiorentina in the Conference League final, they had Roma in the Europa League final, and Inter in the Champions League final. They all lost, but still they made it all the way to the final in every competition. And their teams used to be bit better, but the downfall is crazy. And when you compare it to the Serie A of the 2000s, it's very depressing. I think if I were Italian, I would hang myself or something.
By the way, follow us only for betting tips, not for mental health advice.
Well, I just wanted to like mention 2 other things to support the argument. First one is that if a team from Turkey, if Galatasaray can somehow get Victor Osimhen for 75 million euros, pay him 20-something million euro wage, and then get Leroy Sané and pay him like 12 million euros per year, I mean, surely an Italian club can find the money to pay these wages and pay these assets. Like, come on. I mean, if a Turkish club can somehow find sponsors and find the cash, the liquid money to pay this, I mean, Italian clubs surely can, because they have huge fan bases, they have huge sponsors, they have huge names. I mean, how can they not find money? This is the thing that I'm not getting, because it's not the most watched league in the world, I get it, but it's like 3rd or 4th probably, right after Premier League and La Liga. So I'm not sure how they are struggling with this economy. And another thing that I also wanted to mention is that sometimes they cannot fully utilize the players that they own. For example, Victor Osimhen, one of the best strikers in the world, but thanks to their social media admin or whatever, they lost one of the best strikers in the world to a Turkish club. And then this season, again, a huge talented player called Noah Lang, he was playing for Napoli. He's a really, really talented winger. I'm saying this because I didn't know his name before. I searched him after the transfer rumors came out. And right now in Galatasaray, he is absolutely cooking, both in the domestic league and also in the Champions League. I would say he's playing really, really well. So what I'm trying to say is that if you have gems, if you have players like this, you need to find a way to utilize them and integrate them into a good way of football. You need to use them. You cannot just like let them go and then complain about why you're not successful. Obviously, Napoli, I mean, after you let go of one of your best players, of course, you're not going to get out of the group stage. Like, what do you even expect? So I don't know, maybe Italian football, the heads of the Italian football should criticize themselves.
Just to answer your question there, I think it's a league in general, because for any league and for any football club, one of the biggest revenue sources is revenue. And Italian league, from what I know, they've been struggling to sell broadcast rights to a lot of territories, because domestically Italy is not a big market to sell their domestic rights, so it's obviously abroad. Premier League has managed to do that all over the world. They have fans in every single part of the world, and they're huge. Italian league, no one really watches them out of out of Europe. Like out of Europe, they've been really struggling to sell the broadcast rights. In India, which is a big market for a lot of for a lot of leagues, I still don't think there's an official broadcaster for Serie A. So that's a lot
Really?
of money they're losing out on. And on top of that, fact that Champions League. So Champions League, the further you go up, brings a lot more money to the club. So add to the history to the fact that Italian clubs haven't been doing great in Champions League. So it's all like loss in numbers, loss in money. So it just adds up over the years, and just you're suddenly looking at Premier League and you're nowhere nearby in terms of money. And then like Darren said, there's the administration is doing all sorts of silly things to let the players go. So it just spirals into this massive snowball, and then here we are.
And like another thing, bro, you did a comparison to Galatasaray. I think Galatasaray are more wealthy than 70% of the Serie A teams. I think they even have more money than Atalanta, for example. It's like those teams in those big leagues, if they are not big teams or teams with bigger reputation, they really struggle like to keep this is why they have to sell their players, because this is how they make money. And
True.
this is not the case only for Serie A, but it's happening in all leagues apart from the Premier League, and I think also apart from the Bundesliga, but there's a different way of owning the clubs over there, because they are owned by the fans, but they still sell their players because they basically can't refuse. Let's say a Bayern Munich or another club makes an offer for you. It's an opportunity for you, not only like for your career, but financially, because there's no way FC Köln, for example, can offer you the same amount of money as Bayern does. So if you are not a big reputation club in your league, you really struggle financially.
Yeah, and I think also one of the reasons to answer your question, Darren, because it's interesting. You're right to mention that 20 years ago, Serie A was maybe with Premier League the best European league, but lots of things happened. I think financial crisis in Italy put some big problems on them, and also you remember the scandals in the Serie A with Juventus, with corruption, with things like that. And maybe I'm not sure about that, but I think that still today some big clubs still have to pay some bills, still have to pay some taxes, still need to make their situation more clear, and so that can also explain why they're not signing huge players, or why they're directly selling their big stars like Kvaratskhelia to PSG, like Osimhen to Galatasaray, and all that stuff. So there are lots of reasons, but you're right to mention that, because that's kind of a chaotic situation for Serie A teams. Guys, let's move on with another qualified team for this round of 16 is Atletico Madrid, who also qualified after their 4-1 victory over Club Brugge, with Solot scoring a hat-trick yesterday. Aggregate score was 7-4. After last week's crazy 3-3 draw in Belgium. Jotis, we're not really used to seeing Atletico score so many goals, especially in the Champions League. Do you think it's a good strategy for them to change a bit their habits and maybe try to new things in this competition?
I mean, they bought Ademola Lookman. I mean, if that's not a better indicator than changing the strategy, I don't know what would be. But it's good to see. I mean, they've historically been not the most exciting team to watch, but they've always progressed in these games historically. So it'll be good to see some good football from them finally.
Yeah, you remember, guys, that at the start of the season we said that maybe that season will be a new chapter, maybe that will be the last season of Diego Simeone, that maybe will change lots of teams. For now, Atletico is not really competing for the title in La Liga. We saw that. In the Champions League, they have a long way to come if they want to reach something. But Darren, how do you judge for now this season of Atletico Madrid? For you, is it a good season, or is like usual season as they are doing since lots of years right now?
I mean, it started in a bad way. They were far away from victory for a while at the beginning, but then they seemed to recover, and then after that they seemed to like non-recover again. Like they became bad again, and now they are good again. after Ademola Lookman inclusion as well. So I think it's a season with upsides and downs. I would say it's a classic Simeone season. Not, of course, not one of his best seasons, but surely not his worst season, in my opinion. I think they recovered pretty well, considering how they were struggling at the beginning. So I would say it's kind of a normal average season. I wouldn't call it good, but it's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Guys, let's continue. The other team to qualify in this round of 16 is, of course, Newcastle, who knocked out Karabag. Last night's final score was 3-2. Erin, despite some good results and good style of play, it was too much for Karabag, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I also stated this at the beginning before they even played. I said Karabag would have a really, really hard time trying to adapt to Newcastle's play style. I mean, their budget is right there, their team's values right there. It's around 20-30 million euros. Newcastle probably is like, I didn't even check, but 600, 700 million, 800, something like that. I mean, surely above 500 for sure. It wasn't really a matchup that you could see Karabakh going through. But in overall, I think they should be proud because they did really, really well in the group stage, especially in certain games. So I think the Azerbaijani fans are really, really proud. So yeah, I hope we see them again in the Champions League because it's really entertaining to have teams like Karabakh, Bodo Glimt, and etc. in Champions League, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right to say that. And another team that could have made a surprise, but unfortunately not, was Olympiacos. Yesterday, Bayer Leverkusen returns to he's returning to the round of 16, sorry, after last night 0-0 draw against Olympiacos, but they won 2-0 the game last week. So that's the first four qualified teams: Bayer Leverkusen, Newcastle, Atletico Madrid, and of course Bodo Glimt. We mentioned that. Let's start now about tonight because the last four second leg playoff matches will take place. Sorry, we start with Atalanta against Dortmund, which should kick off like now. The game is playing right now, yeah, and it's already 1-0 for Atalanta. Alex, you talked about that game just before. I was about to say that it smells good for the Germans to qualify, but for now the situation is evolving. You say that maybe Atalanta can make a comeback. Do you believe in this comeback, or do you think Dortmund will qualify?
I think Dortmund will qualify, but it won't be like an easy game or rest of the game for Dortmund. Maybe Atalanta can score another goal and then Dortmund will pull one back to secure the qualification in the 97th minute.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Atalanta scored directly in the game at the 5th minute thanks to Scamacca. So let's see how the game goes. Jotis, let's talk about another game. Last week we had the opportunity to discuss a bit about everything that happened between Benfica and Real Madrid, but you were not there. You wanted to talk about that, so let's talk about what happened, and after that, let's stick to the sporting side of things, of course. Real won the first leg 1-0 with a sudden goal from Vinicius. And so, yeah, tell us what you want to say, and also your expectations for Real Madrid tonight in terms of result and also in terms of reaction.
Yeah, that was a really strange game just because of all the things that surrounded it. I mean, I am 99% sure the Argentinian player it did what he is accused of. But what really bothers me and what really confuses me is how the club is standing by his side. UEFA suspended him for this game against Real Madrid in the second leg, but the player has still traveled with the team. He's in Bernabeu. He was warming up ahead of the game. Which just begs the question, like, what exactly is the club trying to do? It's a clear case of racism. We all saw the reaction, not just from Vinicius, also from other players and everyone. And then, but in this day and age, like, what are they trying to defend? Do they think that this guy is innocent? So I clearly don't understand what's going on there. And then for this game, we have to win this. It's a game that it's just there's too much going on for us to lose. Like, we need to win this game and we need to make a statement with this win.
Yeah, that's quite a symbolic game. Apart from the fact that Real Madrid, of course, needs to qualify for at least the round of 16 in this Champions League. But we remember what happened against Benfica in the league phase. The fact that Real Madrid wasn't in the top 8 at the end of this match day. Then what happened last week? To be honest, because the situation, as you mentioned, the player is not playing, okay, but he made the travel. He was on the plane. He's in the Bernabeu. That sounds a bit like a provocation. We said that to Real Madrid, but like this is not a simple situation. It's a complex situation, but there are two options. The first one is that the player said what he said, and that's absolutely crazy to see him training in the stadium, and just one suspended game is absolutely not enough if he said what he said. Or in the opposite, if UEFA can prove that he has not said something, well, it's awful to be accused of saying something like this. If I was Benfica manager, if I was Benfica president or whatever, if I'm sure that my player hasn't said that, I will sue Real Madrid or I don't know who to say that my player has been racist. You know what I mean? So that's make the situation weird, because Benfica is supporting their player, but at the same time they're not doing everything to prove his innocence, right?
Yeah, 100%. And also, like, let's just for the sake of argument, let's say he hasn't said this, but you've seen the reaction, you've seen the accusation
Yeah.
that has pointed towards him. So why would you let him travel with the team? Like, how does that help? Like, what are you trying to prove? Let's say he hasn't said anything and this was a completely unbiased, like completely unprovoked argument or whatever.
Yeah.
But still, just based on the provocation, just based on the reaction, like, why would you make the player travel? You could leave him at home. Like, it's one game. So I don't understand what's going on here, really.
Yeah, that's a kind of a weird situation, and let's hope that this situation will be fixed. And also on the pitch, let's hope that we'll see a good game between those two teams, and that the best team of both will win that double confrontation. Just guys, before we move to the next game, I just want to say that Atalanta is leading 2-0 at halftime.
Oh wow.
But yeah, Alex, you said that we need a goal from Atalanta to add more spicy thing in this game. And once again, you were right. So please tell me that France is going to win the World Cup this year. I will, of course, believe you.
For all betting tips, follow Fraud Lads.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you will earn a lot of money. Trust me.
Yeah.
Guys, let's
your
continue with
house.
another game, the return leg. Yeah. Or not lose your house. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Yeah, let's continue with this PSG against Monaco game, a French like derby, we can say, in this Champions League. We did talk about PSG, difficult result, 3-2 victory last week, thanks to a lot of luck, I will say, because there was a red card for Monaco and there was kind of a weird situation with the referee and things like that. I have to admit it. Well, PSG won 3-2. Quite honestly, beyond PSG's securing qualification tonight, I think they will qualify, but I'm expecting a reaction in their style of play. I would love to see PSG as dominant as they were last season, because at the moment I have serious doubts about the club's prospects in the competition and in the future. And when you look at PSG's potential opponents in the round of 16, that will be Barcelona or Chelsea, it's clear that PSG is not currently guaranteed to win those matches, which would be a real setback for our season, of course, and also for the fan spirit. So yeah, quickly, I will say that PSG will qualify tonight, but I'm expecting way more than what they were doing since lots of fruits right now. And if they want to continue in this competition, I think they will need to play way better. Guys, we don't have a lot of time, so let's talk about the last but not least match of this Champions League evening. This clash between Juventus and Galatasaray. Of course, we must remember that the Turks struck hard last week when the first leg 5-2. We spoke about that, of course. Therein, tonight is the night, let's say. What are your expectations for this match? And yeah, well, what strategy would you implement if you were the Galatasaray manager?
Last week I was joking around saying that if Galatasaray wins the first leg, the second leg we're going to see the biggest haram ball ever. But no, probably won't. It's not the style of Galatasaray's head coach. He would not park the bus and wait in defense. And in fact, if you do that, you invite your opponent to your own half. So it's nonsense to defend, in my opinion. I think Galatasaray is going to play the same, almost the same as the first game. But instead of having the possession of the ball most of the time, I think they're going to give the ball to Juventus and try to counterattack with fast players like Leroy Sané, Barış Alper Yılmaz, or Noah Lang, and of course Victor Osimhen up front. He had an injury, so he couldn't play on the weekend's domestic league game where Galatasaray lost 2-0. This was the second loss of the season for Galatasaray, so it was a big deal. But tonight he's back in the squad, so I always said that Victor Osimhen's presence give Galatasaray more aggression, more faith in the... So I think they're not going to lose tonight. I'm expecting maybe a draw because obviously Juventus needs to fight in front of their fans. They're going to press high, press more than the first game. So maybe 1-1, 2-2, a draw like that I'm expecting. And Galatasaray will go through, in my opinion. But I don't want to be sure and I don't want to jinx it because you never know. Even though it's a 3-goal difference, you just never know. It's football.
No haram ball this Ramadan season, eh?
Nah, bro, it's Ramadan. No haram ball in Ramadan.
I also wanted to share something with you because I saw yesterday on Monday French sports journalist that was saying like his predictions for the match coming up, and like he began by saying, I think Juventus will score 3 goals, so they will like do the remontada, but they will not qualify. And people were saying like, bro, what are you saying? What is this stupid prediction? How can you predict that Juventus will score more goals but then will not qualify? So that was kind of crazy. But it was to say that this game, also in France, and I think in all Europe, is kind of important and impressive because. Of course, we knew that Galatasaray was able to beat a team like Juventus, especially this season, to be honest, because Galatasaray showed great teams in the league phase, and Juventus was kind of also hesitant in some games. But still, it's crazy to see that a Turkish team that is not part of the big European teams is able to not only win but to like kind of destroy a strong opponent as Juventus. It's like we can compare it like Bodoglim destroyed Inter. Of course, Galatasaray is a way better team than Bodoglim, in my opinion. I think you share that. But still, it's crazy to see that some teams in Eastern Europe or in other countries can not only fight but like destroy some big opponents, and that game is of course really interesting. And also I wanted to add that in this type of scenario, you said that Juventus will press high, will try to do everything to get a good result, and I think that will be a good occasion for Galatasaray to see their true level during this game, because that will be a different situation. They will need to adapt to Juventus tactics, and if they can get a good result, even a draw will be a great result. That will show also that Galatasaray is ready, and that will show also to their next opponents that it's not a so easy draw to face Galatasaray in the round of 16, I think. So yeah, we'll see. Alex, you also think,
just one thing that
Sorry,
I
go on.
want to add before Alex speaks is that if
Yeah.
Galatasaray goes through tonight, they're gonna get either Tottenham or Liverpool on Friday.
Yeah.
Against
That can be good. Also, I wanted to ask that, of course, we'll certainly revisit the result next week, and also the upcoming draw for the round of 16. I think it's Friday, if I'm not saying bad things. But of course, next week we'll have the opportunity to prepare our brackets and our predictions for the final games of this championship. So that will be also interesting to see who will be our favorites for the final title. To finish, Alex, when you see Galatasaray playing like this, when you see Bodo Glimt playing like this, of course it's against two big Italian teams, but there are Italian teams. Sorry, do you think those like little teams, let's say that, can beat everyone in this competition? I'm not saying that they will, but do you think that they have the strength, they have the power to beat like really, really big teams in this competition or not?
No. I think they will lose against Premier League opposition if they face Premier League teams. Even Tottenham, I think, might knock them out, because it's just crazy the way the league has grown. Like a club fighting relegation has finished 5th in the Champions League phase. Is crazy.
true.
And I think they will get knocked out also if they face Barca, Real, Bayern, even Dortmund. Dortmund has a special aura, how you like to call it, in the Champions League. They are a club that, even though they are not like, they go every time under the radar. They always make it to the quarterfinals, semifinals. They even made it to the final a few years ago. Dortmund always have been like pretty consistent in the Champions League. I think they can also knock out Bodoglim.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens tonight. There are the four missing games, and we'll know the names of all the qualifying teams for the round of 16. And as I said, we will prepare our predictions. And also, once again, guys, sorry we didn't have the time to talk about Europa League and Conference League. I know it's important. We have to talk about that, but we had a lot of subject today. Guys, if you don't have anything to add, I think that's the end of this new For Lads One Red Card podcast. Thank you very much for listening or watching us on our various platforms. Once again, please feel free to follow us on social media. It's really important. You know that. And Darren, good game for tonight. Jotis
so.
also good game for tonight.
Also,
Alex,
You as well.
you're kind of cool tonight, right?
Yeah, I'm relaxed. I'm gonna do the most hated hate watch ever.
Well, let's see, and let's hope that all of our teams will qualify to the round of 16. Guys, thank you very much, Darren, Alex, Jotis. Thank you, guys.
Thank you as well, Jules.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much, and see you next week, everyone. Bye bye. And yeah, thank you very much. That was Fall as one red card. Bye bye.
I'll
Thank
see you.
you.